Thank you for tuning in to the Cozy Mystery Quartet podcast. To round out the quartet, I'm joined by Wendy Kendall, Susan McCormick, and Linda Hope Lee. We're taking advice from the characters in our book this week, so I thought I would let my main character speak for herself. What more proof do I need that my life is going nowhere than realizing my New Year's resolutions hadn't changed one whit from the previous year? I'm Crystal Rainey, and that epiphany impelled me to walk out on being a humdrum, soulless office drone and land my dream job as a wilderness guide. I can't believe I'm paid to go on other people's adventures. The downside? I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm gonna fake it till I make it. My first assignment is to lead an overnight corporate retreat on a snowshoe hike to majestic alpine chalet with my fellow guide, the rugged Connor Oakes. Before you ask, I'll admit that I've never snowshoed in my life, but how hard can it be? When the company's detestable owner turns up dead in the snow, I have to admit that my first thought was, what does this mean for my future? Sure enough, the insurance company places our excursions on hiatus until the cause of death is resolved, and I'm left staring at a laughable bank account. Not having any idea how long the suspension will last, Connor invites me to dinner with his cousin Holly, who happens to be a policewoman. It took me posing as Connor's girlfriend, not the worst thing I could ask for, and several bottles of wine, but by the end of the night, Holly spills on the open case and my worst fears are confirmed. It's a murder, and it's going to be months until the case is closed. I couldn't believe how cruelly my good fortune was yanked away. This is the first career that excites me to get out of the bed, and my budding romance with Connor is doomed if I return to the old version of myself. I don't want to quit my thrilling new position and jump back on the corporate hamster wheel, but I also don't want to risk the humiliation of losing my condo and moving back in with my parents at age 27 if I can't pay my bills. I'm not having any of it. I have no desire to end up heartbroken and alone, with only my ill-mannered cat for company. So I decided to risk it all for my chance at happiness. Rolling up my sleeves, I dig into the suspects. Do you want to know something? People covering up a murder aren't interested in talking, but I'm not willing to give up my happily ever after so they can keep their secrets. I'm getting close to the truth, but close doesn't count when it comes to solving a murder. I'm going to have to take some dangerous risks to get to the bottom of this. That's how I found myself bargaining with a homeless man to retrieve a bag of garbage from a dumpster in a dark alley in the middle of a Seattle downpour, where a potential murderer had tossed it. Maybe my life had become a little too interesting. Linda, which character are you introducing us to today?
Hi, everyone. Creating characters is one of the enjoyable and challenging tasks of writing a novel. Some writers spend time developing a character before he or she ever appears in the story. Since I am more pantser than plotter, my characters tend to reveal themselves as the story develops. One of my favorite characters in the Nina Foster mystery series is Nina's grandmother, Jessica Bingham. A widow, she lives at Marley Manor, an elegant retirement home, and is Nina's only living relative. When I met her in Book 1, Murder Between the Pages, Jessica let me know right away how she feels about her granddaughter. After learning that Nina discovered the story's murder victim, Jessica phones her and inquires, "How are you doing? Are you all right?" When Nina assures her that she is, Jessica adds, "Well, if you need me, call. You know I'm here for you." Although she often admonishes Nina to be careful, she supports her sleuthing, always keeping an eye and an ear out for anything that might aid the investigation. On one of Nina's Sunday visits to Marley Manor, I met Jessica in person. After the two have dinner, Jessica plays in a pool tournament, which she ends up winning. It seems she's an expert player. I don't know where she learned this skill. She hasn't told me yet, nor has Nina. Later that day, while the two have tea and cookies in Jessica's apartment, I learned a bit about her appearance. "How do you like my new hair color?" Jessica asked, patting her strawberry blonde curls. "Nice," Nina said. The true color of her grandmother's hair was a mystery, because she had dyed her hair for as long as Nina could remember. I saw a lot more of Jessica in Book 2, Secrets to Die For, because much of the action, including the murder, takes place at Marley Manor. Jessica and her friends become deeply involved in helping Nina bring the culprit to light. A significant change in Jessica's life occurs when she meets new resident Joe McGarity. Nina worries about her grandmother's potential romantic involvement, especially since Joe is on her suspect list. "You're going to date him?" Nina asks. "Is that why you bought a new blouse and got a new hairdo?" Jessica's lips curved into a smile. "He hasn't asked me yet, but when he does, I plan to say yes." I don't know yet where Jessica and Joe's relationship will lead. I need to keep writing to find out. I am certain, however, that whatever comes, she will be there for Nina to love her and provide support in all her endeavors. Wendy, tell us about your special character.
Thanks, Linda. Moonjava is a free-spirited character in Cat Out of the Bag. I invited her today to talk about the story. She's involved right now in a sit-in regarding her disagreement on the police handling of a case in Bayside during the sequel to Cat Out of the Bag, a story currently underway. Because it's against her principles to leave the sit-in, she shared with me some of her perspectives on her life. She wanted you to know that it's not easy being the one caught between generations, but she's happy to be that person. She's all about love, peace, and unbridled joys. She's the flower child whose mother, Pam, is a lively senior in Bayside. Moonjava is supportive of Pam and her friends. This group of senior ladies get together at least weekly for early dinner at their reserved table, the biggest table in the center of the restaurant, so they can hear and see all, and certainly comment about it. And so they're known as the ladies of the round table. Pam is happily ensconced in her hometown. The murder in Bayside was a shock. She has her own theories and is not shy in expressing them. Moonjava is here to let you know that growing up with this mother required all her peace and zen vibrations and often large doses of rebellion. Moonjava wants you to know that unlike Pam, she was born under a wandering star. She got out of Bayside as soon as she could to explore the world. Of course, she would later stop by when she could to share experiences with her daughters, Catherine, and her sister. Oh yes, Catherine Watson has a sister. They grew up together in Bayside with their grandmother, Pam. Moonjava will tell you that Catherine also grew up to leave Bayside behind her. At least she tried to. I have to interject here, though, since Moonjava has stretched the meaning a bit. Yes, Catherine left, but not like Moonjava. Catherine left to establish her international purse design enterprise in Los Angeles on Rodeo Drive. She did not leave to rebel, and she is not a wanderer. And it is an ominous mystery in Bayside that started at her own party that has drawn her into its web, compelling her to manage her operations from the Pacific Northwest for now. She must catch the killer, or she may end up the next knockoff. Moonjava can be a bit overwhelming with her yoga poses, mantras, and philosophies, and I just don't want her to mislead you. Moonjava wants you to know that her many travels and adventures have taught her all that is important, from rainbows to groundswells. When she left home, she christened herself with her new name when it came to her on a full moon night, lying out with friends in an ethereal spot at the Arizona desert. Catherine later unceremoniously shortened it to MJ. Moonjava is fine with that. She goes with the flow. As Joseph Campbell said, and it's one of Moonjava's favorite of her millions of meditations. Follow your bliss, and the universe will open doors where there were only walls. Although Moonjava admits that in life she has run into walls sometimes. One of her biggest surprises has been a daughter who followed her bliss into making purses. Then Catherine began dating a cop. Moonjava does not trust the man. She does like the canine dog named Hobbs, although she's sorry the dog also works on the police force. She may never learn to like Catherine's cop, Jason, but Moonjava has learned to appreciate the artistry of Catherine's purses. Her imagination has been especially stirred by what they represent. She's at one with the history of the women through the decades and centuries who carried the different purses. She's become a center of energy around showing the ordinary women through history and their amazing acts and courage. For now, MJ dazzles Catherine's Purse Museum with stories of this history. Power to the people. There's no telling how long she'll stay, but the deadly mystery has grabbed MJ's attention, and she likes joining forces for investigation with Catherine and Pam. She doesn't know what the future will bring, but Moonjava is moved by a strong vibe that Bayside needs her now. Although MJ is busy at the sit-in at City Hall right now, she asks to leave you dear listeners in peace and love, and she invites you to check out her blog she shares with Catherine and sometimes other characters from Cat Out of the Bag, and which, by the way, I will mention they've taken over from me, the author. I now have to ask permission to be on the blog I started years ago. Anyway, the blog is A Passion for Purses. .blogspot.com. Hear more directly from Moonjava there. Susan, what character are you going to tell us about?
Thank you, Wendy and Moonjava. I'm Susan McCormick. I enjoy all the characters in my Fog Ladies San Francisco Cozy Murder Mystery series. The Fog Ladies are a bunch of suspicious senior sleuths, plus one overtired, overstressed young medical doctor. They each have their own personality quirks, and they grow and learn every time the new book comes out. My favorite character is 80-year-old Enid Carmichael, and I'll have her tell the story of Book 2 in her own words. Enid Carmichael here, 80-year-old crusader for safety in our elegant apartment building in San Francisco, with my apartment over the front door a perfect perch to protect our tenants. I am part of a group of like-minded ladies with more than a little time for detection, and we have found another murder to solve. Turns out Sarah, 28-year-old medical resident without much suspicion and very little time, has suddenly decided that a stranger she met at a family resort could not, in fact, have stabbed his wife to death with kitchen shears. How she knows this, I do not know, since she is typically the last of us to figure anything out at all. Sarah just hasn't had our life experience. We are the Fog Ladies, Sarah included. The other 5 of us have some years on her, in my case, over half a century more. But she's got her attributes. Because of her, we've embarked on this quest to prove the man innocent, and it comes with a lot of benefits, like meeting a lady killer who hacked up her husband with a machete-like blade they used to trim the hedges, and meeting another woman who bakes a very tasty molasses cookie. If this man didn't kill his wife, who did? Someone stands to gain from the $1 million life insurance policy. That's 1,000,000 reasons to kill, in my book. We have our suspicions about who it could be. I see a man walking back and forth outside our building. I can see him from my window, but he can't see me. I checked. He's up to no good, I can tell. Does he know we're onto him? Then there's the celebrity lawyer. Alma Gordon's in love with him, and his slick ways and shiny hair. Little does she know this man is not what he appears on television. And what about the family resort? Could nefarious types lurk there? I tell you, Sarah may not even be right. The man she met might be the killer after all. His wife didn't think much of him. His career, if you can call it that, is going backwards. He believes in an unusual form of exercise. He has no alibi, and the police think he is lying. He probably killed her out of jealousy and humiliation. The police think it's an open and shut case. Plus, he looks like a killer to me. Oh, I hope we get to meet him. We Fog Ladies are fine, though Frances Noonan and Alma Gordon are having their troubles, and they're not speaking. Alma Gordon has found love at age 75. What is she thinking? And Harriet Flynn had a complete transformation. You're not going to believe it. Sarah's friend Helen has all the stresses of a growing family. and her husband is fit to be tied. I think they're doomed, headed for divorce court and custody battles, and I know a little something about that. Anyway, the fog ladies go on as always. You can count on us like early morning fog burning off by midday. You can count on us to find the killer. What fun to hear about all these characters from the Cozy Mystery Quartet authors. I'm Susan McCormick, and with Michael Erdahl, Linda Hope Lee, and Wendy Kendall, we are the Cozy Mystery Quartet. Please join us next time and like and subscribe so you won't miss an episode.